You know what? That is all my dad, man. That's all to credit to the maker. So, when I was young, I used to watch like mad, crazy, enjoy like kung fu movies and that. And then one time he just like to me, yo, what, do you do martial arts? And I was like, yeah, why not? Took me to a class, and then just history itself, man. Just literally just been there ever since. I was a very, very quick learner because I'd say like I'm a kinesthetic learner. Learn by doing things. So I'd learn my patterns within like a month, couple weeks. But then it's not so much about learning the pattern, it's like how good can the pattern be. I feel like all my medals that I have, this one's probably the most important one to me. This one's bronze, but this is actually a world championship one, so wow. This one's my most important one to me. Only world championship, like I was trying to get calls up for the world, like to be in the England team. I was not getting like no attention whatsoever. The person that I fought to get into the running of placement of first, second, third was in the England team and smoked him. My mum doesn't watch me fight, she don't like it when I fight, so she don't watch me do it. But nah, they're happy, man. They're proud. I like to think they're proud of me.
Yo, RG, how are you today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Welcome to the Chinwag podcast.
Man. Love, man. Thanks.
So let's get straight into it. So, from an early age, how did you get into sport? And like, what got you into it and who got you into it?
Do you know what? Like, my family, sports just always been one of those things where like we've always, without sounding cocky or anything, but my family's always been into it and been very, very good at it. So it was only just natural for me to get into it. I feel like me continuing sport was just more of me enjoying it. And also like it just takes your mind off things that you could be doing on the outside life. So like you could be stressed with like exams or stressed with like just work or whatever. So I just found like sport was just a getaway from it, if that makes sense.
So you say your family's into sport. Did your dad play sport? What sports did your dad play? Your mum?
My parents and like my family, I wouldn't say they took sport crazy seriously. Not as much as I do anyway. So I would like in terms of like professional level, there isn't really like a family member that I can say yeah. But they're all very, very into sport. Like we're all very talented at it. So it's only natural that I got into it.
Were there any sports that as a child you properly excelled at, or was you just like a range of sports that you thought I was good at?
Actually, obviously, when I was a kid growing up at a young age, I used to do taekwondo. I still do. But I've always been that kind of kid that just enjoyed all sports. I've never really stuck at one sport only. It was always like, I always enjoyed play. Like for me, it was always about having skills in different areas. And recently, it's just like tennis. I was completely shocking at it. So I was just like, yeah, do you know what? Let's go up playing tennis and get better at it.
So I can see you've bought, so I know that you do taekwondo. I see you bought some of your medals and your belt. So how did you get into taekwondo? Because that's quite like a niche kind of thing to get into.
You know what? That is all my dad, man. That's all to credit to the maker. So when I was young, I used to watch like mad, crazy, enjoy like kung fu movies and that. And then one time he just like to me, yo, what, do you do martial arts? And I was like, yeah, why not? He took me to a class, and then just history itself, man. Just literally just been there ever since.
So how old were you when you started taekwondo?
I think I was 7 when I was about 7 years old, yeah.
So the first time you tried taekwondo, what was going through your mind just before the session you were doing? So what was going through your mind and how were you feeling?
So I think my first session, I wouldn't say nervous because I'm not really like a nervous kind of person. Like even if I am feeling nervous, a switch just goes in my head and just like, right, you're not nervous no more, like just get it done. So for me, my first experience of what I expected was instantly go out there and fight, if that makes sense. Because ultimately, like when I'm watching movies, I'm seeing people fight, that's what I wanted to be able to do. So my first experience was like, oh yeah, I want to learn to fight. But then when you go there, it's proper traditional, it's proper like take your time. So I feel like I was a very, very impatient person, and I feel like that helped me develop my patience in a sense.
So you said you were a very impatient person. So what kind of stuff, what were drills or exercises do you do at taekwondo from when you started when you were 7? Like what kind of stuff were you doing then? Like now, what kind of stuff are you doing now? So just talk me through the kind of different.
So what developed patience for me is obviously being a very, very impatient person. You're more like to just fight and do sparring sort of thing. And the thing that developed my patience was patterns. So you have to like very, very traditional. Like every belt that you get to is a pattern a new pattern that you learn. And if you're doing the pattern properly and you want to make it look good, you won't be able to just do the pattern. You won't be able to learn it in one day. It's going to take you a certain amount of time to learn it. And so for me, that just helped the process of learning and developing and learning and enhancing what I know and what I need to do and stuff.
So you say learning takes a long while. So you say you're on a black belt. Mm-hmm. So what's the first belt?
The first one's a white belt. So when you first start, you start as a white belt.
So then obviously you progress throughout the belts. What kind of how long did the patterns take to learn? And then in your exam, I don't know if it's called an exam. In an exam, do you have to perform that one like to perfection to get the next belt?
So basically, when you first become a white belt in my class, anyway, it's like you have a grading. So a grading is an exam. You have that every 3 months, and then after you get your belt, you obviously learn a new pattern. So patterns can learn. It just depends on you. Basically, it's like you don't have to go for every single grading. Like you can say you don't want to go for this grading, you'll go for the next one. And I done that in my later stages of my taekwondo career. So it just depends on how you are. Like an examination is you go for the examination if you feel like you're ready for it. It's not like how school examinations are like at the end of the year, this is what's going on. It's more so there is an exam on this day. If you feel like you're ready for it, you go for that grading. If not, you wait for the next one every 3 months. So for me, I was a very, very quick learner because I'd say like I'm a kinesthetic learner, learn by doing things. So I'd learn my patterns within like a month, couple weeks. But then it's not so much about learning the pattern, it's like how good can the pattern be. So once you learn, it's about maintaining. So for me,
how long did it take for you to get from white belt to black belt to where you are now?
my first white belt to my first black belt took me about 3.5, 4 years. Yeah, about that.
That's not actually that long.
It's not that long. Like when you think about it, like if someone tells you, oh yeah, 4 years, you're like, no, that's long. But if you're thinking about it as like the things that you have to go through, it's not really that long. It's just a process, you know what I mean? And then obviously I'm a third degree now, so that's 3 black belts. So I've gone through 3 examinations as a black belt.
So what's the difference? Obviously, I'm guessing the difficulty of the patterns. Yeah. So the first degree black belt, what does that involve? Like,
so you have to do like you learn every degree black belt. You have 3 patterns to learn. So normally when you get a color belt, so that's like white belt, yellow tag, yellow belts and stuff. You learn 1 pattern. When you become a black belt, every degree you become, you learn an extra 3 patterns. So when you do an extra 3 patterns, that makes the whole process a bit longer, a little bit harder as well. For me, when I first started taekwondo, obviously I was 7, but the age that the club takes on people is like 4.
oh wow.
So it's just more so like, obviously when you know about the club, because obviously you might not know about the club doing taekwondo until you're about 12. But obviously if you know about the club and then the parents feel like you're ready for it and you within yourself feel like you're ready for it, there is no age limit as such, if that makes sense.
So you said there was 3 patterns you had to learn for first degree black belt. Do you have to learn more for second degree black belt?
For black belt that you get, you got 3 patterns that you need to learn. Obviously the difficulty increases the more you progress.
Okay, so now you're on your third degree black belt. How many? Is there any more to go?
Yeah, there's 9. There's 9. But obviously for me, being true to myself, I don't really plan on getting to 9. I don't know. For me, I always said to myself, once I get to 3rd, I'm gonna call it quits. But
why is that?
For me, it was just an always goal that I always had. I don't know why. I just always had this goal that once I get to that 3rd, then.
But don't you want that the 9th degree one though? Do you not want that for the future?
Do you know what? It wouldn't be bad to have it, but you know when you first started, it's like you always set yourself a goal. Obviously, my first goal was black belt, and then I always said once I'm a black belt and I get to 3rd dan, I feel like I've got to a degree where I'm very, very senior. I have experience of taekwondo, and I've done what I wanted to do. Like for me, my goal was 3rd dan, but I'm a 3rd dan now and I'm still doing it. So who knows what can happen?
So you said you're very senior in taekwondo. Do you coach as well, or do you just compete?
I do both, but right now I wouldn't really say I'm competing as much. I'm more onto the coaching side. So
why is that? Is there any reason for that?
Without like obviously hurting any feelings, obviously with my club anyway, there isn't that much competition for myself. You know what I mean? And it's very, very hard. Like obviously training by yourself is very, very important, but you need people to train with. You need people to spar as well.
So would you move to a different club?
I would move to a different club, but it would have to be under the umbrella of the club that I'm training with. And even still, when I move to a different, like, I feel like, without sounding like cocky again as well, it's like my name, because I'm very, very, no, not even that. It's because I'm very, very experienced at taekwondo. Like my name is very, very well known, and so when they hear my name, it's like, oh no, I just can't be out sparring him. Like I'd have to be on my A game. Do you get it? Yeah. And it's like sometimes I just want to spar just to see where I'm at. And for me, it'll be a competition I'm going to. But then obviously the whole lockdown thing happened, and there weren't no competitions. No one's really training, so it's just like, yeah, cool. I'll just go into coaching instead. Like.
So, when was your last competition? How long ago?
Last competition was, I think, 2K19, 2009.
So talk me through, for example, when you got your lead up to the competition, the day of the competition. So just talk me through your experience of that last competition you had.
My most previous one, yeah. So my most previous competition, because I've gone to so many, like probably gone to like 50 plus. So it was sort of like a here we go again moment. Like it's just like you know what you need to do. You need to go and get the job done. It's almost like when you play football or you watch football players playing football. They've been to like the senior competitions before, like Champions League. They just know what they need to do. You know what you want. You know what you're good at, and you know what you can exploit in the opponent. So for me,
Study the opponent, or
yeah, massively. Like I don't do research in the sense of like because you don't know who you're going against, but you study the opponent in the sense of like when you're in the ring, if you're fighting, like you read their body language, you get an understanding of what they're good at, and you also the good thing about it as well is in the competition it's almost like a tournament. So when you win, you go through. If you lose, obviously you're
it's
knocked
all
out.
the same day.
Yeah. So with like competitions, like because it's a tournament based sort of thing, you can watch the person that is fighting before you that you might be fighting after. You see the weaknesses in them, and then you just take going out, then you exploit them, and express yourself. Literally.
So what does like competition day involve? So with the moment you get there to the moment you leave. So say in your last competition, where did you finish?
My last competition was in Hertfordshire. I came first place in sparring, and I think I came second place in like patterns or something like that. So it's just like patterns is you versus somebody else. There's 4 judges. They just decide, or 3 judges. They just decide who's the better pattern. Sparring, literally just like any other sparring fighting sort of scene. There's like 4 judges. Then there's a middle referee, and they just vote for the person that they think is the best person, like who scored the most points. So it's point based.
So for those that don't know, I don't know actually. So how do you score points in Taekwondo?
So it depends what competition that you're at. Like a point to the head, kicking them could be like 3 points or 2 points. A jumping kick is just an added point. A punch to the head of the body is 1 point. And any jumping technique you do is just 1 additional point. So in a sense, if you jumped up and done 1 punch, it's 2 points.
Okay. So so obviously you said you came first in the fighting one and second in the patterns. So that must have been a long.
It's a long process. It is a long process, especially when like you're constantly performing patterns. Like with patterns and sparring as well, it's not like you do 1 pattern done and they score you, which is recently they've been trying to do that. So it's like they give you a score out of 10, so you don't have to repeat your pattern again. But what it used to be like is literally knockout. So I'm sparring, you're sparring. No, I'm doing my pattern, you're doing your pattern, and it's like we vote for who the best one is. You go through, you get knocked out, and so on and so forth. But now they do like a scoring system, so like they score you out of 10, and then they have a lot of people doing it as well.
So I see you've brought your black belt, some medals as well. Would you like to show the camera and show?
This one here is my black belt. You know, I work hard for this one, man. You know. These ones here are just like amateur medals. So these are just like my gold one here. I don't even know. I don't even say what this one's for. This one's probably sparring. This one's probably patterns as well. And this one's probably patterns. For some reason, yeah, my mind always freezes when I do patterns. Like I'm not even like a person that forgets things, but because I know naturally within myself, I'm not 100% of my patterns. I force myself to the competitions and do patterns. It's like, oh, do you know what? Like I turn up with a negative energy, so it's always like, oh, I don't get first place.
Okay.
But this one here, I feel like all my medals that I have, this one's probably the most important one to me. This one's bronze, but this is actually a world championship one. So
wow.
This one's my most important one to me.
So do you want to show
Yeah.
that one?
This one's my most important one.
Nice.
This one I came third. I lost to the winner.
Okay.
So I'm happy about that. If I was to lose, I'm hoping I lose to the
held?
winner. This one was held in Hertfordshire as well.
Okay.
It was a home one.
How long ago was that?
This was in 2015. So what's that? 6 years ago, something like that.
So 17, 18?
Yeah, about that. Yeah. The person that I lost to was Argentinian.
Wow.
And
okay.
he said something to me in Argentinian, but obviously I don't speak Argentinian, so I don't know what he's saying. But I'm guessing he was saying you're a good fighter. I'm hoping that's what he's saying anyway to me. But it was crazy. Like the first 2 on the podium was Argentinian, so first place, second place Argentinian, and then I was third place.
Is that your only ever world championships you've been to?
Only world championship. Like I was trying to get calls up for the world, like to be in the England team. I was not getting like no attention whatsoever. The person that I fought to get into the running of placement of first, second, third was in the England team, and smoked him. Absolutely smoked him. I looked at the coaches.
So did you not then progress to become in the team?
You can try. You know, there's only so much you can try. But you know, when they have kind of like a person that they want, and you don't really fit that, then there's nothing much you can do. You can just keep doing what you're doing, and anytime there's a world championship, you attend it. Like literally. But when the England team, they have England selections, and obviously out of the people that they come, let's say the 20 people come, they only select like 3 people. So if you're not the one that they're selecting, you have 2 options. You either give up or you carry on. I just didn't give up. I just did my thing.
So you're really young actually when you competed in your first and only world championship so far. So what was that like? The lead up to the competition, like your training.
That one, the World Championship one, that is a completely different atmosphere to my amateur ones. Like, how can I explain it? Perfect example. Have you been to a football match before? So you go to like a league game, compare it to a Champions League game.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing flags, you're seeing people that are obviously it's across the country sort of thing. So it's like overseas people as well. That whole atmosphere is completely different. Like you're seeing flags like country flags. It is crazy. Like for me, it's definitely like I got the adrenaline buzz like crazy. Like
Obviously, were you nervous, excited? What were you feeling?
first competition that was a World Championship one, I was a bit nervous. But in the sense of knowing that I needed to get things done, I wasn't really that nervous because I've had experience to the amateur ones. But I just knew that the ability would be a lot better. That's all it was.
So are there any? How often are the Taekwondo World Championships, and do you have to qualify for those, or?
So do you know what? I don't. That's a question I don't really know.
So how
I
did
feel
you
like
get into-
for this one, we heard about it, and we just like, yeah, sign me up.
Oh, really?
Literally, yeah. So in terms of like qualification stuff, I don't know. Like my manager or whatever, he was the one that was like, there's a competition going up. It's in England. You might as well go for it because it's in England. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, sign me up. I'll do it. And he was like, you know it's gonna be a bit hard. And I was like, yeah, so what? Like it's better than the ones I'm going to anyway. So I'm down.
So during the competition, was it going? So you came third. So you must be obviously really pleased with that. How the lead up to, did your training change much?
Yeah, the training, the whole preparation towards it was a bit more serious. Like when I say the amateur tournaments, that we take them seriously, but it's more about personal training. And then when you go to like the World Championship, it's more closed door training, so it's like more intense because obviously you're aiming. For me, I'm proud to have a bronze medal because obviously I got something to show for it. But
Even if you didn't get a medal, that would be a big achievement too.
yeah, but for me, I've always been the person I wanted to be the best. You know what I mean? Like even for the third, me getting a medal, I was happy that I got something to take from it, but I was gutted that I wasn't first place. You know what I mean? Because it's like the match that I had against the person that I lost to. Obviously, he won, and it was a very very close match. Like the points difference was probably like 1 or 2.
Okay.
And this is my first one, and I'm assuming that he's a very very experienced. So it's like, do you know what? Like I was gutted, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is. Just carry on going.
So you said you moved on to more of the coaching side of Taekwondo. So do you teach the patterns? Do you teach your students how to? You teach everything. So talk me through, for example, if I was to go to a session and just watch, like what the ages that you coach, and like run me through from the moment you get there to the moment you finish the session.
So I had a session today, literally. I had a 4-hour session, so we had different classes. So we had like the first one would be like white belts, second one yellow belts, so on and so forth, all the way to black belts. Obviously, the training sessions that you're doing, they change depending on ability and their senior grades as well. So the same session that you might do for a white belt session isn't going to be the same session you're going to do for a black belt session. So it's very very basic when you're a white belt, and then when you get to like black belt level, it's very very like, how can I put it, more intense. The intensity levels rise up a little bit. It's like
going up in the division in football.
yeah, literally just like that. It's a lot better, I'd say.
So do you enjoy the competing more or coaching more?
Do you know what? I can't lie to you. Like they both have pros and cons. Because obviously I like to get coached. I like to actually be there competing, and obviously with the martial that I'm doing as well, you can do both. Like you can coach and you can compete.
What are the pros and cons that are going through your head?
So the pros and cons are obviously the pros of coaching, for me as well. Like when I'm coaching someone and I see them doing the wrong thing, I make sure that I don't adopt that. Like if I'm coaching you to do the right thing, I bring that into my own little sparring or my own technique as well. And the cons of coaching as well is that I'm not out there doing it. The same with competing as well. It's like when I'm competing, the pros of it is I'm out there doing it, and the cons is I can't see what I'm doing wrong, and I'm getting coached by somebody else. And what you have to remember as well, your coaches, they play a massive part. It's like they could be coaching you to do something, but that might be your weak point. And obviously, yeah, focusing on your weak points is important, but so is your strong points. It's massive. Like your coach should be able to know you individually and know your insides and outs and know what you're very, very good at, and obviously make you excel in that. And then your weaknesses is just all a balance. So, yeah.
That's cool. So what do your family, your friends think of you competing in Taekwondo? Because that is, it's risky.
It's risky, but my family are very, very happy with it. My mum doesn't watch me fight. She don't like it when I fight, so she don't watch me do it. But nah, they're happy, man. They're proud. I like to think they're proud anyway.
So they obviously they give you support, but
Mhm.
your mum doesn't come because she can't.
Nah. She don't. Do you know what? It's not that my mom doesn't want to support me. Like I know that she's supporting me all the way. It's just that she just doesn't want to watch her son fight.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So in the World Championships, and in your bronze medal match, so what was going through your head? Where was this other person from? How good was he compared to you? And like, just talk me through the feelings that are going through your head.
I think on my World Championship, I don't know how many fights I had. I think I had 3.
All in one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a tournament, innit? And it's literally knockout. So I had my first one. I can't remember, so I'm just guessing I absolutely obliterated them. 'Cause I actually can't remember that. My second one, this is where my second one, my feelings. I'm not really a person that shows feelings and that, but my second one that actually got me absolutely pumped and irated. So there's 2 rounds in this fight, and the first round, this guy is massive. Like I'm 5'8".
So there's weight classes.
There's weight classes, but it doesn't determine on height.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
So you could be 5'8", but be the same weight as someone that is 6'3",
Yeah.
and that's literally what happened. So I have fighting against someone that is 6'3".
Oh god.
This guy's got the longest legs ever. The guy was basically like Dawson from Street Fighter, bro. Like this guy, was long, bro. This guy, he's kicking me from far, and he's kicking me, and he's getting into my head. So I'm like, bro, like what the hell? Like I'm losing this fight. And then we've gone over to obviously it's like half time as such. I'm talking to my coach, and my coach was like to me, he's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, you're losing.
So how does so it's rounds, is it?
So the World Championships is rounds. It's just you have 2 rounds. So you have first round, break,
How long are the
second round.
rounds?
I don't even know. I think it's probably like a minute 30.
Okay.
So then the first round, I'm not gonna lie, he's obliterated me like crazy. I've gone into the half time now, and then my coach said to me, you're fighting his game. He's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, you're losing, but you're fighting his game. That's why you're losing. He was like, you know he's got long legs, so why are you standing so far away from him? And I'm thinking to myself, that is actually mad true. Like he's longer than me. Why am I standing so far? Like I'm never gonna be able to hit him. He was like, from now on, every technique that you have to do a jumping technique just to get the points back. Because obviously, as you jump, you get an extra technique in it. So I was like, do you know what? Cool, say no more. He's like, fight your game. He was like, obviously, right now, you doing a kicking thing with him is not gonna work. But you're better than him with the hands. He's like, you jump and do 3 techniques in the air, you've already tripled your points. And literally, that was just my whole game plan in there. I was moving like a bouncing Betty. I was jumping out there, just literally going up to my man, smacking him in his head like 3 times, and then like on the floor, go around him, jumping 3 times, smacking him. And this guy was in the England team as well.
Oh, wow, okay.
His coach was just like, what? Because obviously,
Yeah.
when you're winning a certain amount of points, it's just about keeping him away from you now.
game management.
Yeah, literally, that's all it was. And so when I'm coming fully at him, he was like, rah, like, you know what I mean? He's bamboozled by it. And I ended up winning that fight. So it was like, yeah, like, cool.
Was that the second round?
That was my second round. And the third one is the one that I lost to the Argentinian.
Okay.
I think that one was, out of all the fights I've had in Taekwondo as a whole, I feel like it's like my top 3 difficulty ones. Because obviously, he was the same height. You don't know what his game plan is. He don't know what my game plan is. He just watched me lose. Like, he just watched me win against him. But the game plan that I took against somebody else is not the game plan I'm going to take against him, because obviously he's the same height as me. Just the whole approach to it is completely different. So, yeah.
That's mad. That's actually mad. So what is the hardest match you've had in your Taekwondo career?
So with the amateur ones nowadays, even though they're amateur fights, there's people that go there just to see where they're at. So it's almost like, like you have pre-season, and then like pre-season football teams, they go out and they have like these cup games during pre-seasons, and then you might come against a team in a final that really put their strongest squad out. It's literally what it's like in the amateur fight. So it's like people just go to see where they're at. If they feel like they're at a very, very good level, then they'll go to like world championships. So I feel like I've had 2 fights in amateur fights where they've been very, very quality fighters, and then obviously I'm counting the world championship one as my hardest one because I lost it. So
Have you got any other competitions lined up, or you just
for myself right now, no. I'm more focused on my coaching and my football, to be honest. But yeah.
So I think we've covered a lot of Taekwondo, as you just said, coaching and football. So we'll go coaching first. So what sports do you coach and who do you coach? So
As a whole?
yeah, as in general.
As a whole, I coach all sportsmen. Definition of sports coach, literally. I'm the definition of the PE teacher you hate. Go out there in shorts and screaming at you. That's me, man.
Do you enjoy it, or
I enjoy it, but I also enjoy my own time. Like obviously, like any person should always have a broad kind of avenue at what you're good at. So like always branch out, do different things. I do jewelry on the side as well.
don't worry, I'll ask the question what you want to plug later. So we'll move on to that in a minute. So what age children do you coach? Like,
There isn't an age limit. So right now, my day job, I'm a PE teacher, so there is no age. Literally nursery to like year sixes. I've done high school. Not for me.
not for you.
Not for me.
Okay.
Give too much attitude and that. Not for me at all.
You've been in some of my videos before. You've been in a challenge video, and you play for Kodak. So tell me how you ended up at Kodak.
I think you already know how I ended up at Kodak, man.
Tell them.
You're the reason why I'm at Kodak. I can't even lie to you. Like when I was a kid, I'd say about 12. About that, like 10, 11, 12. My little brother used to play for Hanwell, and he got scouted for Brentford. And I remember it clearly because it was like the other day. I was 14 or something like that, and I was playing a game for them because they had one person drop out. So I was playing, I think I was either a striker or a winger, one of the two, I don't even know. But I was 13 and my birthday was next week, and I was playing for the under 14s. And I played that game and I got scouted that same day. And they were like, I told them how old I am. They were like, oh God, say no more. But they were like, do you know what, if anything, you're good enough to play for under 15s, innit? So I had the contract there. My mum was like to me, nah, you're not playing football. But I don't.
Why did your mum say that?
That's what I'm saying. My mum didn't understand what that was. Like, she didn't understand. For me, she was just like, oh yeah, taekwondo's you, not football, innit? So she didn't understand that if you're getting offered a contract to play for a team, that's a big thing. She didn't understand that. So obviously I was like, do you know what, like, forget football, I don't even care about it anyway. So I've always been good at it, but I never really took it seriously. And then obviously you was like to me, oh bro, I got a team there. I was like, cool, why not? Like, and I think I've been there, 2 years now? So I haven't really taken football seriously from like the age of like 12, 13 till about now being 23. I don't really take football seriously, but now I do.
So since you've joined Kodak, what's it been like playing for a team, like a more serious kind of team rather than just like a Sunday league team?
Do you know what? I feel like it's pushed me in a sense of when you're doing like taekwondo martial arts, it's a very, very individual sport. It's like playing tennis. It's a very, very individual sport. If you lose, it's because you done something wrong.
Yeah.
And obviously that person's better than you. Whereas football is one of those team sports. I've always been good in a team, but it's one of those ones where there's a responsibility of collectiveness, like you're all in a team. So for me, that's been my challenge, like going into a team and working and being part of something that is bigger than yourself. Like I feel like that's been my challenge for me.
So the seasons for us has just started. First team reserves, all of those, both teams. What are your aspirations for this season? Have you got a goal target you want to reach?
I spoke to the gaffer, man. I told him I'm trying to be top goal scorer or somewhere up there. I'm trying to get my numbers up. Like for me, I feel like I'm very, very influential in a game, but the numbers don't show that. And I'm not really a stats person. Like if you come and watch the games, then you'll know that I'm influential. But if you was to see it on paper, it doesn't look like it. But I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be like influential on paper, influential in games.
So what do you think you need to work on?
So when I spoke to the gaffer, I said that to him. I was like, what do I need to work on? And he was like, bro, just get yourself in the box more. And for me, I avoided kind of getting into the box because obviously if I'm coming against a 6-foot centre back, I'm not winning the header. But you never know. Sometimes the ball might just drop. Like my goal on the weekend, the ball just dropped to me and I was on the edge of the box, hit it, you know what I mean? So I feel like just be more aggressive, be more direct, and hopefully the numbers will be there, you know what I mean?
I hear you. So where do you see yourself in like 5 years as a coach, PE teacher, as a taekwondo coach and competitor, and in football? So
in 5 years, I'm like 28. Damn.
You'll be in your prime.
I'll be in my prime. I think in 5 years' time, I don't know. I'll be the same. I like to think of myself as like an entrepreneur, innit? It's a bit cheeky, but I like to think of myself as an entrepreneur. I feel like in 5 years' time, hopefully, I'm a millionaire, man. Honestly.
I wish you the best.
Yeah,
I wish you the best.
Too.
I love that, bro. I love that. So before we finish the podcast, 'cause we've covered quite a lot. Yeah. I think. Is there anything you want to plug, like your Instagram, anything like that?
You know, it's gonna be there. So obviously, my personal Instagram, RG Stay Winning. My jewelry company that I'm working alongside with, it's Ice Tray London. If you need kicks, it's gonna be Sneak Freak London.
You can talk about that a bit more if you want.
Yeah, so obviously just reselling. I feel like it's saturated now. Everyone's a reseller, but you know, you gotta get how you live sometimes, man. I've always been that kind of person where I'm just trying to find a new avenue to make a source of income. So yeah, I think the jewelry thing for me was very, very out there because I'm not really a person that, like, I wouldn't say I'm a scared or introvert person, but I'm not an extrovert person. I can be both when need be. So I feel like the jewelry thing was like, rah, like, me getting into jewelry, like that's crazy. But it brings like a creative side to myself. The trainers, everyone wants to wear trainers nowadays, so it's just like, yeah, like if you can get hold of trainers, obviously get rid of the trainers,
thank you
innit?
for joining me on the Chinwag podcast this
Yeah,
afternoon.
man, thank you, man. You brought me here, bro.
But
Love.
if you enjoyed that podcast, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, like and subscribe, you know. Hey, listen, Monday 5 p.m.
Make sure you follow RG on his Instagram and his other side businesses. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you later in the next one.
Cheers, man.
Love, bro.
Oh, I try and remain professional as possible, bro.